Testing, testing. Is this thing on? Can you guys hear me out there? Welcome to my first video on the Bearded Sentinel YouTube channel. I figured it was time to finally start a YouTube channel. Why would I start one? As the name would imply, I very much love comic books. I very much have a fascination with X-Men villains, the main villain being the Sentinels. I'm here to share my love for comics, the stories, the characters, the artwork, and again, obviously, all things Sentinels. And so, what I wanted to do is real quick, just do an introduction. Why? How did I become a fan of the Sentinels, even though they're bad and some people would say they're horrible and all those and everything like that, but I don't know. I've just always liked the character and the idea behind them. But my first, obviously, introduction, just like I think a lot of people that grew up in the 90s, was the X-Men animated series. And the first episode, The Night of the Sentinels, when we see these just emotionless robots. And from then on, I was hooked. And obviously, I got more into comics after that. And so one of my main collection is Sentinel comic covers. I know in modern day comics, there's a lot of variant covers out there. So I'm always a sucker to collect Sentinel variant covers of comics. So what I thought would be a good starter for my first video is to show you my top 10 comic book covers of comic book runs that have the Sentinels on the covers, if that makes sense. Eventually, I think after this, I'll do a video on variant covers that have the Sentinels on them, because there's many of them. And again, I'm a sucker. I love them. So I'm always going to collect those as well. But this is going to be my first video. I hope you guys enjoy. And I am, again, happy to share my collection, my love for all things comic books. So let's get into it. All right, to start off, my top 10 Sentinel covers, we got to go with Uncanny X-Men 281, released October 1991. Cover art and artist is Whilce Portacio. Also, he was one of the plotters, if you will. Is that what they're called? The writers of the storyline. Him, Jim Lee, and also one of my favorites, John Byrne. We'll get into that later. You might be thinking right off the bat, I don't even see a Sentinel. You see a little bit of a Sentinel, right? You see him kind of right there. You see a little bit of him. But I got to talk about this one right off the bat because, again, like I said, my first introduction to the Sentinels was the cartoon, the animated series. But my first comic that I ever owned was Uncanny X-Men 281. I was about, I don't know, 4th grade, 5th grade, however old that is, 9 years old. And my uncle took me and my cousin to a comic shop. Had never been to one. Again, the only thing I really knew about comics was the X-Men cartoons, Spider-Man cartoons, things like that. And he let us each buy a comic. And as I was looking around, I saw a lot of comics there. But for whatever reason, this one just stuck out to me, and I bought it. And it was fantastic. You open up the inside, and you see the Sentinels. And let me show you a little bit of that. I'm going to bring out another copy so I don't have to open up this copy right here to just show you what I'm talking about. You ready? You open up the page. You read the first little page, you see the Reavers there, and then you open it up and boom, you see these gnarly looking Sentinels that again, I had never seen before because I was just accustomed to the ones on Fox, right? Fox Kids channel. And they just look wicked. They look like something out of Mad Max or something like that. And it was just awesome. And from then on, I was hooked, and I had to read more. If you in the 90s, Whilce Portacio, Jim Lee, they were it when it came to X-Men. And so this is the copy. This is the first one of my top 10 Sentinel comic covers. So I think that's a good one to start us off with to set the tone. All right, here we go with the next one. Coming in at number 2. You guys ready for it? I don't know if you guys are ready. Here we go. Look at this. This is one of my prize collections in my comic collection. Uncanny X-Men number 14. The first appearance of the Sentinel. Iconic cover, classic cover. This is a raw copy I have. Eventually I'm going to get cleaned up, maybe graded. I don't know. I'm always leery about the grading thing, especially now with some of the things I've been hearing. But story by Stan Lee, cover art by Jack Kirby. What else can you say? Among Us, stalk the Sentinels. You love it. It's just from the get-go, it's like, whoa, these things are crazy. And so yeah, this is number 2. And again, there was I guess you can even say this is number 1. I know the first one is just my introduction, if you will, into comics, but this one is this is it. This is definitely, if I'm going to call myself the bearded Sentinel, of course I have to have this copy, right? So that's number 2. Let's get on to number 3. All right, here we go with number 3. You guys ready? Here we go. Boom, right there. X-Men number 98. Story by Chris Claremont. Art and cover art by Dave Cockrum. One of my favorites. One of my favorite X-Men artists. I love his iteration of the Sentinels. Classic cover, right? Classic cover. This is when X-Men just took off and became one of the best-selling comics, right, of all times. Even during Chris Claremont's time, the stories were great. Everyone knows them, but such a great cover, right? X-Men number 98, Uncanny X-Men. That's number 3. All right, here we go, number 4. Here we go. Right here. Uncanny X-Men 142. Now, this is a facsimile, however you say it, copy, right? I have a good original copy, but I just didn't bring it out. I was able to pick this up at a comic book store the other day. But Uncanny X-Men 142, I remember, again, as I was learning and growing in my knowledge of the actual comic book storylines of the X-Men, when you first see this cover, you're like, what in the world's happening? What do you mean everyone dies? I don't remember that in the comics at all. Obviously, besides Morph, that's a sad moment for a lot of us. But just seeing this and reading the story, and it's crazy, and it's again I think one of the best storylines in comics. But just that cover, the story by John Byrne, Chris Claremont. But this cover is actually by Terry Austin, and I believe he's one of the longtime either inkers or color artists with John Byrne. But again, classic, iconic cover. Everyone knows this. There's been homage covers done to it, done of this many times. Probably for the rest of comic book history, it'll probably be that way. But again, great cover. Comes in at number 4 on my list. All right, we are at the halfway point of my top 10 Sentinel covers, and as of up to this point, we've been doing X-Men, which makes sense. But now we're going to throw something at you with coming in at number 5. I love this cover, and hopefully you do too. Maybe you've never seen it before, but it's just one of my favorites. For number 5, it's Falcon, the Falcon, issue number 2. Look at that cover. It's just such a cool, amazing cover. It's one of my favorites. The story of this comic is by James Owsley. But this cover is by Paul Smith, and it's just a fantastic cover. I have multiple copies of these. Every time if I find these in like a dollar bin or cheap, I just buy them just because it's such a cool cover. The Falcon is a cool character, and just that Sentinel in the background being all just menacing, and again just so emotionless, and it's just, for me, this is a classic cover. I love it. And again, I need to get the rest of this little short run. It's a 4 issue. I think I only have 2 and 3. I need to get 1 and 4 to complete this little series. But that's coming in at number 5. And I think, maybe hopefully now you'll see this and be like, man, I got to get one as well. This copy's, I think you need it, especially if you do collect Sentinel covers, which I don't know if anyone else does with me, but great cover. Alrighty, coming in at number 6 now. Here we go. It's another non-X-Men cover. It is right here, Champions, number 17. This run, or at least this issue, was written by Bill Mantlo, and the cover art is by Ernie Chan. Um, the Champions were a cool group, right? Just a bunch of different Marvel heroes put together, right? You got Ghost Rider, Angels, the Black Widow, Iceman, and Hercules. Just kind of who, what does that even work? I don't know. Should they make a movie out of it? Maybe. But this cover, just again, you see just a different, I guess, interpretation, iteration of the Sentinels, just the color scheme and everything. It's just, they're just cool, right? This is actually the last issue of this run, but it's so cool. It's, again, if I ever find it for cheap, I just I buy multiple copies of covers that I really think that are just dope, just sick, right? But this is one of them. This is a great cover, and again, it's so funny how the Sentinels just kind of pop up everywhere in Marvel Comics. It's not just the X-Men, even though there's X-Men here, right? You have Angel and Iceman, but fighting other Marvel heroes. So there you go. At number 6, the Champions, number 17. All right, coming in at number 7. We're getting there. We're getting towards the end, but here we go at number 7. The New Mutants Annual, number 6. Story is by, I think it's Chris Wozniak, but this cover is by none other than Rob Liefeld himself. I know there's a lot of people who love Liefeld, who dislike him with a passion. I'm up in the air. Some of his stuff is good. Some of it's like, I don't even know. But again, this, for whatever reason, this cover, it's Sentinels. I love it. I had to have it, and it's one of my favorites. Just cool, right? 1990s type of cover. They just look cool. Again, even with Liefeld drawing it, I really like the Sentinels, the way they look, how they kind of take up most of the cover, and it's just cool. It's just kind of like this doom, right? Impending doom, if you will, for these new mutants, and it's just really cool. I dig it. Days of Future Present. It's an annual, so there's a bunch of stories in there, and it's just cool, right? So that comes in at number 7. New Mutants Annual, number 6. Alrighty, coming in at number 8 now. We're going back to the X-Men. We're going back. Uncanny X-Men number 202. This one is written, of course, by Chris Claremont, and the cover art and the art is by John Romita Jr. You can see a little more emotion in these Sentinels. I like that. And this is just a cool cover. You see Wolverine just shredding some calves, right? Some just tearing into him. You see Magneto, Colossus, Rogue. It's just great cover, iconic cover, and again, has just these cool Sentinels fighting in the snow. Seems very poetic. I don't know, maybe, but yeah, this comes in at number 8 on my list. I love it. Again, even if I find messed up issues of this, like at a dollar bin or something, I just pick it up because then I can do other stuff with it, you know. And my wife is a crafty person, so she can do stuff with old comics that are just too messed up to do anything with. But yeah, I just pick these up if I can find them. But yeah, coming in at number 8, Uncanny X-Men 202. All right, almost there. Coming in at number 9, I had to throw in a Mignola cover. We have Marvel Comics Presents number 20 with Cyclops going up against Master Mold. You gotta love that Mignola cover. I like Mignola covers. I am a collector as well as of the classic X-Men covers, especially the Mignola ones. He just has a cool style that's very much him. Everyone knows it. But this is one of this is a copy that I really like. Again, if I ever find it, I'll try to get another one. Probably have a couple copies of these, but it's just a cool cover. It's just different. His style is just it's just unique, but it's cool. Like, I dig it. A lot of people love it. But you see it. You just see Cyclops on Muir Island going against Master Mole, of all things. and he's got to save the day. That's what they do. But again, you see these just menacing Sentinels, and it always just seems like, man, there's no hope, and they're just gonna. What can you do? But this cover is just such a cool cover. Love it. That comes at number 9. Marvel presents number 20. All right, here we go. Here we go. We are at the end of my top 10. And again, this was very difficult to even try to rank them. Obviously, there's some that are just like, yeah, of course, they should be in your top 10. And again, I'm gonna probably do more different videos just of my collection and everything like that. But coming in at number 10 for this first video is this beauty right here. X-Men Classic, or Classic X-Men, however you want to say that. Number 55. This is a reprint of Uncanny X-Men number 151. But again, it's just cool. Such a cool cover. You see these Sentinels just taking up most of the page, most of the cover. Beware the Sentinels. You have Kitty Pryde, which is one of my favorite X-Men. You have the whole team. I couldn't find out exactly who the cover artist was. It might be Bob McLeod, Joe Rubenstein, or Jim Sherman. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys know. You can leave it in the comments so I can know that. It's always hard with these classic ones to figure out who did the covers or not, but that comes in at number 10, and that finishes my top 10 Sentinel comic covers. Again, I have so many X-Men covers in this box that I have. That's kind of the backdrop. That's all full of Sentinel comic covers. So I'm gonna do more of those, just to share my collection, and hopefully you guys share it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too, and hopefully we can make some connections and talk about comics because I love it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you feel like doing that. I want to make more content. Again, I am a family man. I have 4 kids, so it's not going to be every day or even every other day, but I at least want to try to do one once a week. So that's the goal anyway. But again, I am super stoked to be here and just to connect and to share my love for comics on YouTube with all you. All right, the Bearded Sentinel out.